Have you ever felt burned out?
Yes.
You mean like right now?
Why, yes. It's like we picked
man.
this topic for a reason.
Surprise, surprise, we are burned out yet again. It's a common trend with us. Happens every couple months, but we're learning. I don't know. Last time we were burned out was like...
Probably after we got back from our big Air Force trip, or like right before that.
Yeah, so it's been a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be...
It's about time.
Used to be every week. Now it's every couple months.
Yeah.
So slow progress over time. That's
Baby
what we're
steps,
going for.
right? Baby steps. So today we're going to cover a lot of things, but mostly just going to tell you about how we reached burnout yet again. It happens. And yeah, just kind of give you an update of our week and what we plan to do to chill out.
Yep.
Roll the intro.
Welcome to the Let's Quit podcast.
Quitting is not always a bad thing.
If you have the right mindset, quitting can be the most powerful tool you have on your journey to success. It's certainly been helpful for us.
Whether it's flying through hurricanes, building our businesses, or just trying to get to bed on time, we're always trying to level up and improve our lives.
This is the show where we share the lessons, experiences, and friends that have helped us live this incredible life. So let's quit the bad and grow the good together. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. If you're a first-time listener, the podcast is normally not this, slow or depressing.
Or like, not scatterbrain, but like we usually have a very direct topic that we are going to talk about.
It's like we usually work too hard. And so for today's title, we're going to say, quit working so hard. So we're going to take our foot off the gas for this episode. It's still going to be our same format and everything, but man, we got a lot to unload because it's been a while since we've had one of these podcasts. Yeah. This podcast, if you didn't know, is a way that Jennie and I sort of take a break. It's something that we do once a week that forces us to slow down, talk about our week, process things as they've happened, and just take a breather. And
it helps a lot. And we would encourage other people who are like maybe trying to run a business, or if you're busy at work, like to find that person, that you can kind of have a conversation with or unload every once in a while too, because I feel like that's what leads to burnout fastest is when you're not talking it out. You're just leaving it all in. Even if you just need to summarize what you did that one day, that's why everybody gets home from work and it says, how was your day? Right? Because that's effective. How was your day? Right.
And having somebody that you can be honest with and not, have to worry about their judgment or their, what they're going to think or like what to tell you to do. Just have somebody to talk to. You don't necessarily need to start a podcast. Maybe you do. Maybe you need to just hit that recorder on your phone and listen to your self-talk later when you're feeling a little better. So.
I think we have a lot of guys in our Stud Stack group. If people don't know, it's like our private Facebook group for makers who run a business. And sometimes guys in there will be really honest. They're like, hey, I'm tired. Like I have a family. I only got to work in the shop like 2 hours this week. I'm kind of burnt out. And then everybody just hops on and like motivates them. They're like, hey, I feel you. Like I had that same thing happen to me 2 weeks ago. It's hard. Like you'll get through it. But so I feel like it's another avenue.
Yeah, you just got to find that community of people wherever it is for you and just start to take a break. So what I'm saying by all that is that, man, the last couple of weeks have been so busy. We haven't recorded a podcast. If you notice, we didn't even publish one last week. And then the week before that was a guest. So that one was recorded a couple of days before we normally record shows. Mm-hmm. So it's been a while since we've been able to sit down and just talk through some stuff. So,
I've personally missed it.
Well, let's get right into it.
All right.
First off, we got to thank our patrons. Those of you that are supporting us on Patreon, thank you very much. Makes this show and everything we do possible. We really would appreciate some more Patreon support for this show because it does take up quite a bit of time, even though it is good therapy for us. So if you don't mind, jump on over to patreon.com/jennieanddavis and you can find a tier that works for you. If you got anything out of the show, we would greatly appreciate that. Another way you can help support us, if money dollars doesn't make sense to you, is to just share the show with somebody. If you think that us rambling or whatever would help somebody else out, we would greatly appreciate you sharing the show with your friends.
Share it on Instagram, tag your friends, whatever you got to do. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, even the guy at the grocery store, you could let him know, or her.
Exactly.
So, maybe don't do that, but
I don't know. Maybe they're burnt out and need a podcast about not getting burnt out.
Might be. So let's jump into it. Weekly update. Well, this is more like a 3-weekly update. So we've been busy. You haven't seen it on YouTube because we've been making videos out of such small things that have happened to us proportionally. Videos aren't lying or anything. We're not acting or
it's just
blowing anything up. It's just
talk about such small, specific topics of certain events.
There's too much going on in our week for us to put everything in a video.
And nobody wants that like craziness, uncategorized type video.
Because a lot of it's repetitive and it just wouldn't do well on social. But anyway, we are doing a lot right now. There's just not a lot of conclusions. Like we got a lot of lines in the water. If you're fishing, you got 8 fishing poles. We got 8 poles in the water, but none of them are getting any bites. Like we don't have a story to tell. Some of them, like the story isn't finished yet, so I can't make a YouTube video until a story comes around full circle. So
we'll start with the first one. So a couple days ago, we participated and donated some things to an auction for the Houston Rodeo, which is awesome. So unfortunately, the Houston Rodeo got canceled this year for COVID. But all of the charity auctions and dinners and things were still going, which is good because then those charities can still make money despite, COVID happening and all that stuff. So we had a friend that got us into that auction. And so we're like, hey, what are we going to donate? And we built an entire kitchen table to donate with benches and everything.
A kitchen table that we had not built before. So, we didn't really have any sort of way to prototype that until we got into this auction. And then once the problem was that we wanted to build a prototype for a kitchen table, but we didn't have a place to put one. And I don't want to keep just a whole kitchen table in our storage unit. So this charity auction was a really good way to get rid of a kitchen table for a good cause.
We could get our name out.
We could get pictures of it. All we really needed were the pictures, honestly, because we do build to order furniture. So all I needed was a picture of it, and I can build it again, and I can sell it with the pictures. So it was really nice just to unload that. But that we've been working on for a couple weeks, getting the plan optimized and everything like that. We've been fulfilling a ton of board orders, which is good.
Yeah.
It's just we're still in our living room. Like you can only be so efficient, behind the couch in your living room. So as nice as it is to make sales and ship boards, we're at the limits of what our house can do, which we kind of posted a video about that. But we're sort of at the limit about what our house can do for us.
And it's to the point where it's like, it takes us so long to fulfill these orders, which don't get me wrong. Like we've got a system, we've got checklists, we've got it down pat. We know exactly what you need to do in order to ship these boards, but it still takes us a while because we don't have the most efficient setup. And so all this time we're spending fulfilling orders is time that we're not spending going out and getting more orders.
Yeah.
And you just have to make the decision on what thing is going to kind of get sacrificed for the week or what's going to get your most attention.
Yeah. I mean, the problem specifically with packaging, because that's what our YouTube video was about yesterday, if you're listening to this. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. But our goal with packaging, it needs to be an assembly line.
Yes.
And right now everything is being done on really 8 square feet of a plastic card table and the back of a couch.
All one person?
It needs to be all in a line with all the tools and everything under the table or in bins, or I don't know how it looks eventually, but it needs to be a linear process from one end of the table down to the other, and everything would go much, much more smoothly. But everything has got to be passed back and forth and left and right, over and under. It's a mess right now, but we got to do what we can with what we got. So
you got to start somewhere, right?
But that's what we're doing. We also, changing gears here, we went to the beach. We finally, the other day, we realized we were burned out. So we'll get into this a little bit, but we started taking one of our action steps more seriously because we sort of learned this when we were in North Dakota. When you get overwhelmed, just get out of town. Just stop. Just quit what you're doing and go somewhere else because it's a lost cause. Your brain is tired. You're overwhelmed. You're not going to make a good decision. So you might as well just go have some fun, hit the reset button. And that's what we did the other day. Today
it was noon, I think, when we made that decision too. We were working all day long, and then it hit it was supposed to be our day off.
It was one of our supposed to be days off that never really is a day off because we live in our work environment. So there's really no separation. And finally, at noon, we just said, you know what? We put in a good half day's work. Today's supposed to be our day off. Let's go to the beach. And we loaded up the car. We went to the beach. So that was fun. We're also going to the beach tomorrow again because we're burned out. We're done. We're happy to record this podcast, but this is the last thing that we need to do this week.
Standing between us and a beautiful day at the beach.
Correct. So after this, we're going to go to the sporting goods store and buy boogie boards and or skim boards and or a football and anything else we think we might enjoy at the beach. And we're just going to have a nice beach day tomorrow. Yeah. So, we also, news. We also celebrated 5 years together. It was our anniversary. Yeah. a couple days ago, so that was
married
fun.
For 5 years, guys.
We didn't do anything. We worked through it. So again, I told you, we're burned out. We don't have our priorities straight. So
we're going to go to the beach and we're going to have a grand time tomorrow.
Yep. So my brain is fried right now. Man.
Oh man. Okay, so changing gears again. Let's go back to some fulfillment. Did I say that right?
Yeah. You finally did. You got it out.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, fulfillment. We are selling a lot of our boards in bulk. It was a really good idea we got from somebody in the stud stack. So we created this super nice link for all these realtors to like log on to and buy a board and put in all their engraving information. It gets shipped the next business day and all that stuff. And then we were realizing they'd buy one and then just like stop. Like I'd have to put in more work to make the second sale. And so we were like, how much work are we really going to put in 5 times in a row to get these realtors to buy like boards for the next 5 houses? So somebody in the stud stack was like, what if you just sell them in bulk up front and give them like discounts? And I'm like, yeah, I'd be willing to discount a little bit if I could guarantee that you're going to buy 20 boards up front, and not because losing whatever $5 per board, it is worth it to me to not have to spend an hour every single week convincing them to buy like the next board.
Well, that's what we figured out, and like I zoned out, so sorry if I repeat what
you just
said.
Good.
But bringing this home, even though I've not been paying attention, it was just as much work to sell them one board as it was 20. Did you say that already?
Not as nicely. That was very nicely packaged.
We were putting in so much time, effort, and energy into these realtors, which was fine. We had no problem with it. But like, it was for one board sale, and then they forgot about us, or they lost the card, or they couldn't go back to the website. So
and then I'd have to call back again.
We just, somebody at the stud stack just told us, hey, get on the phone with them and sell 20 of them, send them an invoice, and then next time they need one, just send you a text message. Then that gives you the opportunity to call them back without bothering them, because you're not asking for a sale. You're just calling in to check up. So you get to communicate with them more often. You get to take more money up front, which, I mean, we need cash right now. We're a new business. So you can take all the money we can get. And then also, like, they're a little more committed to you than just buying one board every single time.
Right. And so that's actually worked really well. I think I've taken 2 orders for 20 boards. I've taken an order for 15. I've taken several orders for like 10. And obviously we're working to get more orders, like closer to like the 20 to 50 range. When we first started this out, like everything takes practice. So, you know, we closed a deal for 10 boards, which is good. But always working to like get these realtors to do like closer to 20 at a time. But hey, that's really good. That's like what, 40, 55.
That's almost 100 homes.
100 boards.
That's 100 homes that are going to have our advertising materials.
And think that's only 5. That's
awesome.
That's only like 5 realtors that have agreed to that. There are endless realtors here in Houston. Like, how many more can I get to say yes to 20 at a time? And instead of like wasting my time trying to get 100 orders, I've already guaranteed it.
Right.
So that's been working really well for us, and it's a repeatable, sustainable model. Like, so my brother is still out here working with us.
Oh yeah, you've got this all on a checklist now.
Like, I was able to write an entire checklist for him to do this. I didn't think like we'd ever be able to write a checklist for a sales process, because some of it is like, you think, oh, it's subjective, you have to say different things in each situation. No, like there's some, like 99% of it is very objective. And so now that we have a method that works, which is like blind sending these realtors a board and then making a single follow-up phone call, like it's pretty repeatable. Yeah. Which we're all about.
Yeah. So in the middle of all this, we also went back to Mississippi for an Air Force weekend.
Yep.
And that was your birthday, by the way.
Yes.
We've been busy, guys. Have we mentioned we've got a lot going on right now?
I was working on my birthday. Let's see what else. I got my second COVID shot on my birthday. That was fun. Just lots of productive stuff.
Yeah. We're looking for an editor kind of actively, sort of. Like, I don't know. We've got a couple friends that have like helped us out, prove the proof of concept. Mm-hmm. They've done a few videos for us, but you know, they're not interested in any sort of like long-term job, I guess. There's more like part-time work, but we're actively searching now for editors. So if anybody here is an editing whiz, send us a DM. We'd love to.
I'm kind of taking on like the overflow, like editing role for a little while.
It's just our bottleneck right now on social media, at least with the Jennie and Davis business, is like
time to edit,
media production. Literally, we've got the content. We just need somebody to sit down and edit it. So really easy editing. If you're new to editing, I would even say, like, we're not looking for super high production quality.
No, it's literally just chopping things down and rendering.
You send us an email, jennieanddavis at gmail.com. Did I say
Yes.
that right? I'm sorry. I thought I said Gmail&davis.
Or shoot us an
jennie.com.
Instagram. Shoot us an Instagram message too. Like that works.
That works.
That
You know
works
how to
too.
contact us. People bother us all the time.
Yeah.
You guys know how to contact us. All right, cool. On that note, we're just trying to start making TikToks and Instagram Reels again.
Yeah.
Again, just one of the many irons in the fire we have that we just don't have any we don't have enough hours left over after we've done our priorities to allocate to them. I got to be careful with my language there, especially with today's action steps.
Yes.
We'll get there. Making more charcuterie boards. We made a whole new batch of like 115 charcuterie boards. They're waiting to be finished until we come back from the beach because we're taking tomorrow off.
Charcuterie boards have been kind of an interesting thing for us because we really like making and selling the cutting boards. Like, I don't know. That's like, we don't want to add too many things. We don't want to give customers like too many choices. And so we're kind of like, oh, let's just stick to the cutting boards for closing gifts. Let's just stick to the cutting boards for all this stuff. But I've had a few realtors that follow us, our Samara Table Company Instagram page, and see the charcuterie boards, and they love them. They fawn over them. They send me messages saying, I want one. And it's like kind of frustrating because we're like, no, we're doing cutting boards as a closing gifts, cutting boards. But charcuterie is such a big trend right now. And it's like one of those don't be so sure of what you want that you refuse something better.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like, hey, we kind of need to incorporate the charcuterie boards maybe into these closing gifts too, because why am I turning down like a product that people are willing to pay me like the same amount of money for? Like, people are willing to pay more than what they're worth. Why am I the bottleneck?
More than what they're worth. They're worth what you can charge for them.
Get out that's what I meant. Yes, absolutely. What I mean to say is
there's a higher profit margin on the charcuterie boards, and so we want to sell the cutting boards because we feel like it's quote unquote more fair, but that's in and of itself is arbitrary, so we just need to shut up, build some charcuterie boards, and
that's what I'm trying to say is people don't look at the cutting boards and then try to like lowball us for the charcuterie boards or anything. They see them as equal value, which is kind of a bonus for us because then that's like,
well, what we're selling is the personalization. I mean, like the product does not matter. What we're selling is the thought of a personalized item, and people are willing to pay about $100 for it. So, not too worried about it there. Again, we're trying to sell these cutting and charcuterie boards for their woodworking business, and then hopefully the new homeowners who receive the closing gift from their realtor, which is our board, open the box, are blown away by the quality of the charcuterie board or the cutting board that they got with their laser engraved name on it, that they look at our little pamphlet and see all the furniture that we build for their brand new empty house. Mm-hmm. That's the theory anyway. We'll see if it works. But yeah. On that note, this week's video, if you haven't seen on YouTube, is the debate between sticker and string.
This one was kind of funny because...
give the 30-second version of the difference. So we're boxing these up. We got really nice packaging. What's team sticker and what's team string?
Team string. We wrap our boards in freezer paper. We either tie them shut with string or we secure, like keep the paper closed with a sticker. We started out, we've always been doing string. When we first determined our packaging, we've always tied them shut with
twine,
string.
like hemp string, twine stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. But we're realizing that takes kind of a little while to do, even though it looks really nice. The sticker is super fast, even though stickers cost a little bit more, and they might not look as like good as the string. So it's kind of like
That's
a decision.
Your opinion.
Well, hey, everybody's got different opinions. So that was the debate, is the fact that like people have differing opinions. I like the sticker. I like that it's fast. I think the string looks better. If we could make the string faster, that's what I'd be down for. But it's to the point where it's like, dude, we just need time.
Yeah, well, I think the string, I'm team sticker over here, but like, I like the string. I think it looks nice. And I would argue that it does look a little bit nicer than the sticker, but as far as speed of packaging, if we get an assembly line, like somebody's fingers are going to be bleeding trying to tie these knots so fast. And then the string is loose and it's hard. Like, like if you ever tied a bow around a package, like you can't get it perfectly tight when you tie the bow. You got to do this like weird, like hold with one pinky and like twist it around. Like it's a nightmare to try to think about doing that for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
But if we just slapped it shut with a sticker, it would look 80% as good with like half the time. We've already decided that team sticker is one. Sorry if you watched the YouTube video and you voted or your team string, but like we know team sticker is long-term what we're going to do. I guess right now it's just a matter of how long are we going to do the string until we're sick of it.
Yeah, and I've been team string for a long time just because I think it looks nice. But after we've done like 8 boards in a row, some days I'm like, all right, sticker all the way. Like this is taking way too long.
I just don't think it adds that much extra oomph into the packaging. Now, if it was a totally like if we're talking about, plain brown cardboard box versus custom printed with our logo cardboard box, I'd go custom printed box all day long because that's a huge difference between a brown box and a classy black box. But string versus sticker to hold the paper shut, like you've still got the freezer paper there. There's still suspense. There's still, whether you're ripping the sticker up or you're untying the bow, you're still adding. It's the same. It's an interchangeable. What do they call that in economics? Like Coke and Pepsi, they're like interchangeable goods or something like that.
I don't know. I think it's funny too, though, because
I
I'm sure our packaging is like going to continue to change and evolve. Like, look at Apple's packaging. Yeah, it's been roughly the same, but like they make updates to the inserts and how they package things. So it's like this is probably change number 1 of 40 small changes we're going to make over the next few years. So
yeah, well. Okay, that's 20 minutes of rambling. That's more than we've done in a long time for just an update, and we barely scratched the surface on everything. I think it's time to just dive into the title topic.
Yes.
All right, let's try this again. This is our second time recording the title topic. It is the next day. We were just burned out. We just
and
had
one
enough.
of our mics. We were so burned out that one of our mics burned out.
Yep, we spent another 20 minutes talking about the title topic just to find out the mic didn't work. So that was the kind of day we were having.
So, anyways, here we go again.
Before we head to the beach today, this is our level of commitment to you, because we know, like, okay, so like hashtag real talk, like. We know that the people listening to the podcast are the ones that like actually care.
Yeah.
Like you guys, whoever's listening right now, like we know that like of all the people who consume our content, you guys are like the ones that need it the most. So we don't mind jumping through extra hoops to like make it for you because you guys matter. So
very much so.
Anyway, jumping right into the title topic. Jennie, hit him with the quote.
All right. This week's quote is, "Just because you take breaks doesn't mean you're broken." And that's by Curtis Tyrone Jones.
Yeah, so it took me a while yesterday when you found this quote. It took me like a whole 5 minutes to realize that there's a pun between like taking breaks and being broken.
And that's why you need to take more breaks.
If anybody out there doesn't understand, like a break, as in like something is breaking. And it took me a long time. I felt really embarrassed that I didn't understand it at first. So if anybody else is out there with me, it's okay. You can take a break.
You can take a break. But yeah, I think that's so true. In fact, taking breaks doesn't mean you're broken. I think it means you're very like proactive and fixed and
disciplined.
whole.
Well, you're so organized and disciplined to your schedule that you can take 10 to 15 minutes off and it doesn't ruin your productivity.
Yep.
So if anything, taking breaks appropriately like just shows how good of an organizer you really are.
Absolutely.
So cool. So what we mean, title of this podcast is Quit Working So Hard. So what do we mean by that?
Honestly, I think for us, it's understanding that we're playing a long game. Like we're not trying to sprint to the end of this business. Like we're trying to take the time to plan it out and do it correctly. But man, there are some times where you just like want to sprint from like stage to stage to stage, or you want to like level up faster than you should or you need to.
Yeah, so like for anybody that doesn't like understand what we're talking about, like we got a woodworking business, obviously, if you follow us on social media, but we're not trying to just make a ton of money really quickly. If that was our goal, we'd be doing things way differently. We're trying to build a business and a brand and identity, and like we're just trying to build a long-term system that will provide money for us. But it's really, we're hoping the business sort of survives us, and we hope that it survives, our working on it every single day, and then it can continue to produce cash for us so that we can funnel that into other goals and dreams that we have that are going to require quite a bit of money to accomplish. So we're trying to build something much, much bigger than just us working in the garage, being happy with the job that we have. We're trying to build something that can hire employees and take care of other families and bring other people together with our products. Like we're trying to build something so much bigger than just going for a cash grab.
And I think that's why it can't be a sprint. If you want something like that, it absolutely cannot be a sprint. But sometimes we get so caught up with like specific little tasks like marketing or like calling these realtors or fulfilling boards, and we just get stuck in our little lane
and we lose sight of the big picture.
And then we go too hard and then we get burnt out. And
I mean, you guys know this. If you've ever tried to have a big goal or accomplish anything significant or even anything insignificant at all, like, you know that, like, you've just got to take it slow. You got to you got to keep a high goal, but you got to lower your expectations. That's one of the, like, fundamental things that we teach on this podcast that's been so helpful for us, is set a really high goal and then set really low benchmarks for progress every single day. And over time, with patience and persistence, you'll get it. It's just, that's how it works. So I'm going to say that till you're sick of hearing it, and then I'm going to keep saying it. So, because that's the answer. Well, I love what Gary Vee, everybody always, if you follow Gary Vaynerchuk on social media, everybody always criticizes him. He's like, Gary Vee, why do you always say the same thing? Like, the same 5 things. And he's like, what do you want? A different answer? That's
the answer.
That's the answer. Do you want it or not? Like, it's just so funny to hear, because I think that too when I see his content. I'm like, oh, this again. I'm like, well, I'm not practicing it. I know it, but I'm not practicing it. Yeah. So that's a big difference there. So what we mean is just don't sprint so hard. I got a couple of examples here. So the number one is, like, given a large fixed amount of time to achieve your goal or whatever it is you're doing, jogging is faster than sprinting. The tortoise and the hare. Except I hate that story. The hare didn't take a nap. The hare, like, collapsed right next to the finish line because he sprinted the whole way through. It wasn't because he was lazy. And then the turtle came and just slowly and surely, like, beat him. Because if you, like, think about, like, ultramarathon runners, they don't sprint and stop, sprint and stop, sprint and stop. No, they do one continuous pace pretty much the whole race. I mean, they go a little faster and slower.
Take breaks for water at some points, but, like,
they take breaks, but, like, they go faster and slower. But it's a much more even and consistent pace than a sprinter would do.
Yeah, exactly. And you get more exhausted after a sprint, and so it's harder to start up again. So it's like, if you're so exhausted, you're not going to want to start your next sprint right after you ended the last one.
Right. And that's kind of where we are, like, in life, is we finally realize that the exhaustion that comes with burnout is worse than the discipline required.
And I think it's the recovery too. It takes us so much longer to recover from burnout than it would have taken us to just plan some breaks into the week.
Oh yeah.
Like, breaks that we didn't want to take. Like, trust me, when we're busy doing stuff, we have to, like, peel each other off what we're doing to, like, take a break. Yeah. But it's so not worth it in the end when it takes us, like, 2 days to really get back on schedule.
Oh man. So, like, every time we leave for the Air Force, like, with our other jobs, like, let's say we take 2 days off from the business to go fly with the Air Force. Like, it takes us much more than 2 days to recover.
Like, we still get stuff done in the days we come back. It's just not as much as we were getting done before we left.
Right, but the 2 days that we stop and come to a halt in production, like, it takes us more than 2 days to spin back up. Right. And part of that's a problem with how we've built our systems into the schedule. I still don't think we're giving enough time for things, but in this season of life, like, that's what we got to do till we can hire some help and editors and stuff to keep us going. But anyway, we're rambling at this point. So the next topic we want to focus on is take frequent breaks. You want to talk about that a little bit, Jennie?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where you just have to get some energy out. Like, I don't know, we call this, like, our crazy energy or, like, our stupid energy.
Well, we can't say on the podcast what we actually call it because there might be kids listening.
I'll just call it our stupid energy.
Our stupid energy.
It's like when you're like, oh yeah, I have all this crazy energy and I just want to get stuff done. I'm going to fulfill 47 cutting boards. I'm going to package them all this morning. It's like, whoa. It sounds like you need to burn your energy on something else that's, like, moderately productive and then come back to this task. Like, take a break, get your priorities straight, and then be realistic.
So I could just be critical of myself here. Like, I make maybe 4 or 5 really boneheaded decisions every single day. Depends on what it is. It might, like, I just know that, put me down for 4 boneheaded decisions every single day. And I, like, at this point, I want to know when I'm going to make those decisions so I can make them in the junk food aisle at the grocery store instead of on the editing computer. Yeah. Like, I want to make my stupid bonehead decisions for the day where it doesn't matter. So part of that is if you feel yourself getting kind of amped up or restless or whatever your cues are for you, like, you want to make sure that, hey, you take a break, you go run 3 laps around the house, you decide to go do 500 push-ups, like, whatever it is that gets your little crazy energy out of you, you need to go do that. that way you're not screwing up the rest of your day by trying to sit still, by trying to do editing and just power through, because that's not you're gonna make a silly decision when you should just go get that crazy energy out of you.
Yeah, and I think that's like our next main point. So take frequent breaks, and then don't make big decisions when you're burned out.
Yes.
Like, just don't do it because you're not going to make the right decision. It's better to take a day, think about it a little bit more, and make a decision that you won't be disappointed with, 3 days later.
Right. Well, I mean, the whole reason that we got into burnout in the first place is because our priorities were mixed up. We didn't take breaks. We thought what we were working on was much more important than our other responsibilities. Then our whole life starts falling apart, and then we approach burnout. So your priorities are screwed up by virtue of you being burned out. So the thought that you could make an appropriate life decision when you're burned out is kind of counterintuitive, because you're not going to be able to reset your priorities when you're feeling bad. You need to set your priorities when you're feeling good. Right. So I guess just wait until you're out of burnout or you've started to recover a little bit, and then reset your priorities, and you can think clearly again. You can understand what's most important with you, and we got some help with you in the action steps coming up. But don't make any big important life decisions if you can help it when you're burned out. Just reschedule it, put it off till later, like literally procrastinate on the big life decision until you're feeling a little bit better.
So I say we just jump right into action steps.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so number 1, when you're burned out.
Hang on, you didn't wait for the ding.
I'm sorry, I talked over the ding.
Number
I'm so
1,
burned out.
Ding.
There we go. When you're burned out, we have 3 steps for you. Reschedule, recover, and repent.
I didn't have a better R for the third one, so sorry.
It sounds a little intense, but don't worry, not really. Reschedule. So we're saying reschedule your time, take some breaks, reschedule some big decisions if you're burnt out, and then take time to recover. Get yourself back on track, realign your priorities, and then repent. Fix anything that you screwed up while you were burned out.
Right. And the order here is important. You want to reschedule first, just kick every important decision you have to make down the road so you don't make it when you're burned out. Recover, do whatever you need to do to get yourself back in a good spot. And then lastly, once you've gotten back to that good spot, or you're on your way to getting back to that good spot, then you can determine, okay, what caused this in the first place and how do I not do it again?
Right.
So that's action step number 1. Number 2, schedule breaks into your day. Whether it's, whether it's a morning break for 15 minutes or an afternoon break for half an hour to go take a walk, just schedule breaks into your day, schedule breaks into your week. We try to take Sundays and Thursdays off with the business, both businesses. We do not want to do any work. We inevitably do some work, but anyway, we're working on it. We're in this too, okay?
But we put it in the calendar at least. Those are the scheduled days off in Google Calendar.
Right, but don't let yourself off the hook. Even if you don't think you need the break, take the break, because you're going to need the energy long term, and you're going to be thankful that you took the break when you didn't need it later in the afternoon when something is on fire and you got to put it out. You're going to be like, hey, at least I'm well rested.
Yeah.
So schedule breaks in your day and into your week and into your month and into your year. You need to take frequent breaks to step back, get perspective, and you can make better decisions going forward.
So action step number 3 is prioritize everything in a list as if it was going to be taken away from you. So when you prioritize things, put it in a list of what you would least like to be taken from you from the top. What would hurt you the most, what would cripple you the most if it was taken from you.
You can do this in whatever scope you want, in your business, in your goal, or in your life in general. Gary Vee talks a lot about this too. Just in life, what do you not want taken away from you? If somebody was going to come in and take things away from you, write it out in priority order of the things that you would least like to have taken away from you. Number 1 is you, Jennie.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Of all the things somebody could take away from me, the last thing I would ever want to have taken away from me is you. And next up, what did I say yesterday? I had all this figured out yesterday.
Oh, the businesses.
Oh, yeah, the businesses.
Yeah.
After you is probably... Well, you also stands for family and stuff too, but after family and people and stuff, it's the businesses. And so after the businesses, don't take anything. The next thing to take away is probably my Air Force job.
Yeah.
I would rather lose my Air Force job over my businesses. And then I would rather lose all of that over you or my family or other people around me. And then it just goes on and on from there. That way, when you're faced with a tough decision of it's like, okay, is it going to be my Air Force job or my family? Okay, that's an easy choice. Mm-hmm. If it comes down to, okay, one business over the other, okay, now we got to rank our businesses. Which one's more important? Yeah. And again, Bob Clagett, the I Like to Make Stuff guy, like it doesn't always mean that you choose the one that's higher priority. Sometimes something lower on the priority list needs you 100%. And the things higher on the priority list don't need
20%.
You. Right. So like sometimes the businesses need me 100% of the time, but you don't need me for the afternoon. So just because you're a higher priority than the businesses doesn't mean I don't spend time on the businesses. It just means I have to weigh how much does the business or Jennie need me right now.
Right. And this is how Bob Clagett kind of describes work-life balance. If you've ever heard him talk about it.
It's great.
We really like his description of it. So
yeah. So go check that out. I think he's we'll put it in the show notes, but he's got a book, and I hope that he's talked about this on his podcast, but I hope that strategy is in the book. It's called Making Time.
Oh, it sounds like it would be in there.
Yeah, it's got a blue and orange cover. It's a really good really good book. So, that's
it.
That's it. I'm tired. Let's go to the beach.
Yes, it is time. It is time. Next week, we are interviewing my brother, Eric.
Yes.
He's going to be here on the podcast, just asking him lots of questions about helping us with the business and all sorts of good stuff. So.
It'll be fun. He's young. He's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but he's also been through a lot, too. So I don't know. It'll be a good conversation.
He's a good dude. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.